You tell me when. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to push you off and then I'm going to go get in my boat and I'll follow you, okay? And if you get stuck, what can I do?
Yes, come.
That's right. And if you fall out, what happens?
I can swim.
Yeah, and you got your floaty on, right?
Yeah.
Okay, ready? Okay, here we go. So what you're watching right now is my 3.5-year-old daughter, Seneca. And this is literally the first time she's ever been in a kayak by herself. That first clip I played was, like I said, just 5 minutes before what I'm showing, or 5 minutes after what I'm showing you right now. We have a large green kayak that can hold, it's really for one adult, but the kids can sit in it with me, and I sometimes will paddle them around. And I've posted videos on Facebook of Max doing that one himself. He's 5.5. But I just saw this little tiny, like, kids kayak at Tractor Supply in town, and I went ahead and got it. And I was thinking, it'd be for Max, so that way when I'm on the kayak, he can also be on the kayak, and we'll each have our own basically. But as soon as Seneca saw it, she was like, "I want to do that." So I said, "All right, cool." So what you're seeing here, her pushing off and everything, I did not push her to do that. I did not tell her she should do it. I didn't, anything. This is all coming from her wanting to do it. And the only experience she's had with the kayak, other than just riding around, and when I, have the when I do the green one with them in it, the large one, is sometimes when she sits in my lap, maybe like 2 or 3 times, I've let her do some paddling, while she's sitting in my lap. But that's it. And so she's obviously seen Max do the kayak as well. She's 3.5, and I'm going to show a couple more clips of her and how she is able to process me explaining. But let me just play some more, and then I'll give some more context. When you paddle, if you put your paddle like this, not like this, that's flat. If you put it perpendicular, which means it's straight up and down compared to the water, then when you paddle, it'll move your boat more effectively. Yeah, like that. There you go. There you go. Now, if you paddle only in one direction, it'll turn your paddle. So keep paddling on that side, the one that's close to me. Keep paddling on the side close to me. Or no, I mean on the other side. Paddle on the other side. Yeah, paddle on the other side. Other side. Keep paddling on that side. On one, yeah. Other one. Other one. Yeah. Keep paddling on that side and you'll see it'll turn your boat. If you keep doing one side, it turns. Yeah, there you go. Keep going. You gotta put your paddle in the water more when you do it. Yeah, there you go. Keep doing that. Try again. Yep, keep going. See, you turned all the way to me. Look at that. There you go. Now you can paddle on the other side too. So you do one on one side, one on the other, and that makes you go straight. Try the other side now. See, one on that side, now one on the other side, and then one on the other side. See, and if you do that, it'll make you go straight because you're balancing out the turning. And if you paddle more times on one side in a row, it makes you turn.
If I fall into the water, I'll float.
Why?
Because I have this.
That's right. You're doing great.
What does floating mean?
In this context, a floaty is something that you wear that lets you float.
So what does float mean?
Float, it means to rise up in the water and to be near the surface and not sink downwards.
I know floating mean.
Floaty is a word we use that just means something we wear that makes you float, or something that floats.
So it's like this?
That's an example of one.
Or I have a floating that's too small for me.
Yeah, the other one's too small now. Yeah. Plus it goes on your arms, so it would restrict your arms. So it would be harder to paddle if you used that one. You're doing so great. I said the other floaty that you have, that it goes on your arms, and it would be harder to paddle if you had that one on. So this one's better. This one's more like a jacket. So I just wanted to show, an example of, Seneca's processing ability, my communication with her. And, just keep in mind, she's 3.5. She's literally never done a kayak before. I literally just bought that little blue kayak. That was the first time we put it in the water. I just brought it home that day, like an hour before we did that. So you're seeing like a real time her learning to do something for the first time with just me explaining things. And people say like, well, it can't, education isn't just words and vocabulary. There's all this more to it. And it's like, but you see how I was able to use my words effectively, and she's able to understand me. So that's why she's able to then direct herself more effectively within that thing, even though she's seen me do it. It's you're enhancing the stuff that's just being mimicked physically. And so here I want to put some more pictures and just kind of, I want you to see she's just like Max. They're well rounded. They can read at a high level for their age. They can understand and process information. They can communicate. They can ask questions. They can take information in. And, I have some pictures here with Seneca. She's got a little caterpillar friend. At first we didn't want to touch these caterpillars because we weren't sure if they would sting us. So we looked it up to figure out what kind they are. And it turns out that these ones are, pretty benign. And I think they're called Eastern tent caterpillars, I think. And in this one, she's driving around on her 90cc gas-powered ATV. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it very well once this is on YouTube, but on her right arm, she's got a caterpillar crawling on her arm because she wanted to take him for a ride and show him the trails. So it's like her friend. She calls him Fuzzy, right? And every time she finds one, she's like, oh, look, another Fuzzy. He's my friend. And she takes him around and talks to him and plays with him and stuff. And she always just puts him back when she's done. I want to show a couple examples of her. This is her doing some ballet, she's writing the word ballerina in this picture. And then in a moment, I'm going to show you an example of her spelling the word out loud, jeté, which is like it's like a leap that you do in ballet.
Hey, Seneca, how do you spell jeté?
J-E-T-E.
Whoa, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which is pretty cool. Like the kids are so far advanced. Here's some pictures of her watching a ballet video. We've done all this stuff: first position, second position, third position, fourth position, fifth position. Those are things in ballet. We've done those in her techno tutor. So here she's learning from watching a video. The kids are really well rounded. So they're not just quote academic. They do stuff outdoors physically. Here's one of Seneca. She's teaching herself how to sew, watching videos and stuff, and she's always walking around with a needle and thread, like sewing stuff. Like I saw she had like a piece of like flexible foam packaging material, and she was like sewing stitches onto it. It was pretty interesting. It's just education is so much more than just going to school. I mean, it's not going to school. Like all the stuff you're trying to do in school, you can do that yourself at home using TechnoTutor far earlier and better and more effectively anyways. But I'm just saying it's so much more. Education is more than school. And here's I'll leave it with this last example. This is from this morning, she was helping me with the chickens and the pigs and the turkeys and the cats and our little baby chicks. And here she is filling up, I think this is I can't really see it on this little thumbnail. I think it's the chicken. Oh, she's putting worms into the chicken feed, right? And she's not afraid of picking up these little dried worms. She doesn't have those same fears that a lot of girls have, especially, but just kids generally have towards, bugs and things like that. She likes to pick up toads and stuff. And we've put videos in our playlist on the TechnoTutor Co-Founders Kids playlist of her walking through those initial fears and resistances about toads. So reach out to us if you want to know more about TechnoTutor. Obviously, if you know people who are interested, share this with them. Just show them another example. Show them some of our other videos. We do this for other people. We don't have to put our lives out there. We don't have to put our kids out there. But we know it's best to support people to understand these points and see what is possible. And at the very least, I shouldn't say at the very least, but one necessary component of that is I want people to see so much more is possible if you direct your children's education effectively using the right tools at a younger age than you realize. And that's going to set your children up for a life that you would never could have had and it's hard for you to even imagine. And that is very much needed with all the chaos today, the system collapsing, all of these points. Sticking your kids in school is going to be very quickly, if it's not becoming apparent already, it's going to become very quickly apparent as not being a viable option. And that it's going to be exposed as really abusive, especially as time goes on. So do the best thing you can for your kids' education. Get TechnoTutor, ask us about it, And we'll see you in some of our parenting groups. Take care.